The reason why I didn't start there is because I didn't want to take unqualified people and turn them into consultants or turn them into consultants.
Could you teach what you do to someone else?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, theoretically, I can certainly do that. I guess I'm teaching my employees, my team members that right now. But I'll tell you this, though. Yesterday, I was talking to Daniel, who is one of my team members. He's been with me for 3 years, super smart kid. I was talking to him about consulting, about business consulting, about reading the financials. And the kid is a brilliant accountant, right? He can put together financials. He can do cash forecasts that I could barely figure out all the functions and all that. But then when you sit down and you analyze the number, it takes time and it takes experience. It takes a certain way of connected thinking, right? You have to be able to look at one thing and then be able to relate to it. And I was teaching this to him, and the example that I used was one of the key metrics that we talked about in the past was LER, labor efficiency ratio, right? For every dollar of salary I pay, how much money am I making, right? So I can measure employee performance and all that. And I was teaching him about the segmentation of it and the normalization of it. And he was like, well, why do we do that? Isn't this just one key metric? And I say, well, here, let me ask you this. If I'm looking at my financials, I have discovered that if I'm looking at my key metrics, I have discovered that all of you, every single one of the DeepSky employees, efficiency has gone down in the last month. So if I just look at that number, I should be coming in at you and I should be getting upset with you. And I will ask you, what's wrong? What's wrong with the team? Why are you guys getting lazy? Right? Last month you were able to do 3.25 and then this month you're only able to do 3.05. Why? Right? And then he goes, well, the team is the same. We didn't have any new employees. We didn't have any, new people. The project was the same. Nothing was out of scope. Everything was fine. And I said, I can tell you why without even looking at your performance. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, this is why you need normalization. I said, we have exchange rate differences between US dollars and, New Taiwanese dollar, which is what we paid out in salary. And the exchange rate 6 months ago is every $1 in US dollar is $30 in NTD, and now it's 1 to every 28, right? So essentially all of their salary got more expensive, even though they didn't feel it, right? They didn't feel it. They didn't get paid more. They weren't any less efficient, but my metrics have been messed with, right? And I was telling him about that and how that's why you need to do normalization of these key metrics and all that. And the thing is, most accountants or most business, I guess, where does that come from, right? And that really comes from one, experience, and two, connected thinking. You're able to see something that's happening out in the world and then be like, okay, how does this impact me? How does this impact my business? And being a consultant helps. I think consultant is one of those things that the more clients you have, the faster you learn, right? So if today I am a CFO for one single company, it's fine. I work there 1 year, I get 1 year experience. But if I'm a consulting CFO for 10 companies, essentially I'm getting experiences from 10 companies. So every year it's like I'm having 10-year experience. So I'm multiplying that experience. That's number one. Number two, I'm able to learn something because business is ever changing, right? And I'm able to learn something from one company. Let's say company A is doing something phenomenal, something absolutely brilliant. I'm able to take that, learn that, and then redeploy it out to my other 9 clients. So this is why I've always been such a proponent of outsourcing and what I call like expertise outsourcing, right? Outsource CFO, outsource accountant, outsource marketer or videographer, because essentially these guys are recycling and learning and updating their knowledge and their expertise way faster than someone who works in a traditional in-house post. Because if today I work in an in-house accounting department and let's say I'm the CFO, who am I supposed to learn from, right? Because I'm the top already. I'm at the top of my department already. I'm certainly not going to learn any more skills from the CDO. Yeah, you can say there's continuing education and there's professional association and all that, but nothing beats real life examples, right? So imagine, especially in today's world, I have, just hundreds, since the beginning of time, let's call it, I don't know, 6, 7, 800 sets of financials, maybe even 1,000. That's all experience, right? And it's been 11 years. But if you think about it, had I been working for just one company, right, at a time, 11 years, I probably have only looked at 11 sets of financials, right? And most of those financials are going to look like the previous years, right? So compare, that's just use a low number, 500 versus 11. So that's a super long answer to the question is like, can you teach this to somebody? The answer is yes, absolutely, right? I'm not the only person that knows this, but it's going to take time. And the funny thing is, I'll go back to Daniel. I was explaining this to him, and I was telling him, you have to think about this. This is what the clients are paying you for. You have to work this out. And he goes, this is so hard. And I said, there's a reason why. And before Daniel, there's this one of my other employee. She's moved on to a different company now, but Kate, again, super smart girl, graduated from one of the top university in Taiwan. Actually, not one of the top university in Taiwan, the Harvard of Taiwan, if you will. And she had asked me the same question. She was like, how long do you think it takes me to learn business financial literacy? And I said, you can probably get 95% of it learned in 1 year. But the other 5% probably take you the rest of your life.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
I think that would be the easier path, and I think someday along the way I will. But you know me, man. My passion
Measure
is
and Hack University.
yeah. But the Measure and Hack University's target audience are entrepreneur. I want to use my skills to teach them about running a business and making their business happen, and then achieving their dream. My issue with teaching, let's say I can teach other accountants of creating their own Measure and Hack, right? Or essentially, if today Measure and Hack becomes so popular as a system of tools, then other accountants can take that same methodology, that system, and then help other entrepreneurs. I can see that. But the reason why I didn't start there is because I didn't want to take unqualified people and turn them into consultants, or turn them into consultants, right? And I do this because in today's world, especially on Facebook and Instagram, you see these young kids. They're like in their Lambos and their $1 million houses, and they're business coaches, right? And my question had always been like, how many business have you run? Right? Yeah. Like, and the thing that, and this had always existed, right? It's like their business is to teach you how to run their business. You go online and you see all these coaches, and they're like, yeah, my lesson or my class is to teach you to host the same lesson, to teach other people about teaching lessons. It's like, there's nothing there. You know, there's no meat, right? I try to avoid that. And I think someday maybe when Measure and Hack becomes a well understood and well developed, and don't get me wrong, Measure and Hack, again, the embodiment of it is Measure and Hack, right? So it's ever growing, it's ever changing. But I think at some point when that becomes even more solidified, I'm hoping other accountants and other consultants can apply it, can utilize it, can use it. But then I don't want to target somebody. It's not a, hey, last week I was sleeping in my mom's basement. This week, check out my freaking McLaren. And you can do the same in just 6 weeks time. And just let me teach you how to teach other people about learning financials when there's no meat, right? And I think it goes to the last question that we just talked about, because the concept is easy, right? Vision, strategy, execution, measure, and hack. But the implementation of it, right? I can tell you about LDR in a minute, right? Daniel knows about LDR for 3 years. He's been implementing this thing for 3 years across our clients. He's probably done it, I don't know, at least 100 times, probably even more. But even then, he's learning and trying to figure out, like, okay, for this client, this makes sense. For this economic environment, this makes sense. Okay, the numbers look like this, but that's not always true. I need to, pull in other assumptions to make adjustment. And all that comes with just experience, right? And the last thing I want is for people to take our measure and hack lesson, right, for 6 days, and then now all of a sudden, like, I'm a consultant. Like, get the fuck out of here.